Good evening, everybody. Well, I'm gonna carry on like it's just me and my partner here. So if you're here, thanks for being here. Today, this is Anonymous. The Anonymous is a place that um, I wanted to have the ability to do anonymous interviews with people that, you know what, maybe they want to talk about some things, and this is a good way to do it. So, um, first episode, A1. Today, we're going to talk with B1. So, B1 is here with me now, and um, we're just going to go with the flow and see what happens. Could go on short amount of time, long amount of time. Doesn't matter to me, but that's why we're here. So, meet B1. How are you, B1?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I'm glad that you wanted to come on and just be open. Be open to the experience. And I do want to say that anybody in the community, if you come on here and you happen to recognize people's voices, please respect the process. Please just keep those to yourself. So it is a small community, but we should be able to respect each other. So, having said all that, um, B1 has a very interesting history and past in music, and um, I mean, talk about a long tenure in the music game. So obviously that comes with ups and downs and whatnot. So we met just like everybody else I meet, just online, and so B1.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me to come on. I was thinking about it. It took me a while to think about it because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go to a lot of the places um, to be authentic. Most people walk around with masks on, including myself. I mean, you don't want to, especially for men. It's not cool, so to speak,
Right.
to let your feelings out of things that you're going through in life. You know, you're supposed to suck it up and just take it like a man, I guess.
That's always
So,
been the thought.
yeah, and I thought this would be a nice time to talk about it um, with all of this quarantining and
Right.
and staying at home to not go out in public. I've been going through myself. Uh, I had a heart attack about 10 years ago, and I was left with congestive heart failure. And I went through a lot at that time. I went through a breakup. I couldn't go back to work. The type of job I had, I can't go back to work with my health issue. And no other job would really pay me what I was making to go back and do something else. It, and because of my health issue, I really can't do much of another thing and depend on my enough pay to pay my bills. So I wound up on disability, you
Hmm.
know. And, um, because of this situation that everybody finds themselves in, it's interesting. I wanted to talk about it because a lot of people can't deal with having to stay home and because they used to run in the streets, going to the coffee shop when they want to, going to the club, going to this place and that place. I mean, it's a normal thing for human beings, especially if you have enough disposable income where you can just say, okay, I'm going to do this. You know, to have the thought of staying home as long as I have, which has been about 10 years. I'm not saying I go to the doctor or I will go to the grocery store or the pharmacy, but to just stay home for a week drives people crazy, let alone 10 years.
That's true.
And yeah, and my mother passed away a little over a year ago, and I kind of got sicker and went through a lot of stuff because I was doing YouTube videos, doing some music and stuff, and I just didn't feel like doing it anymore after that. Um, I want to, but wanting to and feeling like doing something are two different things,
Right.
you know. Uh, and I would have people say, "Well, when are you gonna do this? Or when are you gonna make some more music? You doing any music?" And I don't snap at people, but sometimes I want to snap at people because I'm like, "Oh, the hell with the fucking questions," you know.
You're worried about
Uh,
your
I'm,
health.
huh?
You're worried about your health. Like enough about the questions about music. You're worried about life.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not that, and I'm not mad at people for asking me that because I know in some way they care, you know, so I keep that to myself. But I sometimes I want to say, you know, man, I'll do it when I do it, you know. You get tired of the question all the time, you know. But I get it. That's some people's way of caring, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's but I'm not really saying this for me. I'm saying it for the people that are going to find themselves in this situation now. Perfectly healthy people, because
Right.
I see one thing that I've always been a study at is history, and I know about the Spanish flu, which this isn't the flu, this is the coronavirus. But I uh, I know how the Spanish flu got started. A lot of people don't realize it started in Kansas, and it started. It caught hold in the barracks at a fort in Kansas. I forget the name of it. It's a different name now, but it was a different fort.
Okay.
And all of the soldiers that were getting shipped over to Europe for the First World War caught influenza. And when they went over there, then it passed through Europe. And the reason why it got the name of the Spanish flu was because it went to Spain. Over 1 million people died within a couple of weeks. This is
Okay.
how bad it was. Yeah. And it wound up after a year coming back to the United States, even though it never really left, but it came back stronger because it mutated while it was over in Europe, and it came back and it hit Philly, and so many people died. In the worldwide, we lost over 500 million people, which is a lot. Yeah, and you got to figure back then we had about a little over 4 billion people, if that, and now we're at close to 9 billion. So 500 million was a tremendous amount of people, and a lot of people don't understand what's getting ready to happen here, you know. And uh, now it's not at home for a while, you know. It's not, but it's a mindset, you know. And I've dealt with depression um, on a lot of levels of the solitude. You have to get used to solitude and living with yourself. And I've learned I don't think most people can live with themselves. I mean, you hear this all the time, but living with yourself, it means more. It sounds like a cliche, But when you really think about it, most people don't live with themselves for long. They if they are alone, they have the TV running or they have things. They're not really alone with themselves,
That's
you
true.
know. And then if they have to go out, and it was really hard for me in the beginning. I mean, even to the point where I got a cat. Um, I don't have the cat anymore because she started tearing up my furniture and my. I could deal with the furniture getting torn up, but she started peeing all over the carpet. I couldn't afford to change the carpet, so I had to get rid of her. But I have a dog, so it even shows that I'm not fully
Right.
living alone with myself. I have a dog, and it's hard to live alone with yourself. It is because you got to live with your thoughts, and you have to self reflect. And I found in my case, it was hard to do that self reflection. And I used to try to date online and meet people. And at one point, I realized I don't want to be with anybody right now, you know, because I don't want to make somebody else miserable if I haven't really learned to love myself and be really fully comfortable with myself first. Because and that's another thing in this country. We have this thing where it's a cliche. It's like, well, I met my other half. This is
Right.
my better half. People always say that, and there's no such thing as your other half. There's no such thing, in my opinion, as your soulmate. This is something Hollywood has sold us. You have to be your whole half, your whole self. And even to the point where we think we have to meet somebody and fall in love. And you got countries like India and probably other countries where a lot of times the parents pick their mates for them, you know. Um, and those marriages tend to last longer. The divorce rate is a lot lower than here, you know. And they didn't even choose the person; their parents chose the person, here, So all those things I think about all the time. I'm not lending saying one is more important or one is, you know, right or wrong. It's just that I've been divorced twice, and I've lived with a person once, and it didn't work out. You know, and I met people say, "Well, do you want to get married?" I said, "No, I don't want to get married." You know, I've been there. They said, "Well, why not?" I tell people, "Well, I'm not good at it." You know,
Mhm.
and if you want to tell me how to get a divorce, I can help you with that. I
Right.
can tell you, I can't tell you how to be married, and I don't want to get married. These are things that go through my mind, and it sounds depressing. Sometimes it is, but I've learned to live alone, and it's not easy. And one time, my father said, "I don't know how you're not crazy now being alone like that." And sometimes I think I might exhibit those kind of tendencies because sometimes I can get into the negative, or I can think about things and they run around in my head and keep running around
I
in
know a
like
lot
a
about that.
circle, like a rat on a treadmill, you
Mhm.
know. Uh, I don't know if you've experienced that.
Oh yeah, I know a lot about that.
Have you?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm here. Mic check. Can you hear me? Hold on here. Let's see if I'm having some technical difficulties, folks. Just give me 1 second here. I can hear you. Let me see if I can hear the feed.
You there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes, I'm here. Mic check. Me? Go over here. Bear with me. Bear with me. Check this. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Yep. Okay. Go over here. Bear with me. Bear with me. One second, folks. I'll be right back. Okay, hoping here very shortly. We'll have our guest back. Thank you, Rhythmic Design. Give me 1 second here. Okay, I just talked with our guest. He's going to come back in, see if we just had a little bit of a technical issue there. Should be back in here in just a second. And hopefully he can hear. May have had it muted. It's possible. So it's really easy with these cell phones to hit the wrong mute. All right. All right, we're getting our guest back here. Just 1 second. Thank you for being here. Just loading it back up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's all right. We're here now.
I kept getting phone calls while I was on with you.
Oh, that might be it. That might be it.
Yeah.
So if you want to continue, you said you asked if I knew anything about that, and I was just trying to say, yeah, I know all about being in your mind about something and then not knowing if it's real or if you're stirring things up, making it worse, or there's sometimes there's truth to the thoughts that you're having and you're not sure if that's even real.
Yeah, I mean, and some of the things you kind of know that they are real because you're watching it, you're witnessing it, so it is real, at least for you, and um, I think everybody's dealing with their own version of this reality,
Yep.
you know. Um, and um, kind of it is what it is. I think I was mentioning to you about how in relationships in some countries we don't even choose our life partners. Our parents choose them for us,
Yep.
you know, and they tend to last longer than the
Yep.
ones that we choose. You know, so that's an interesting thought. You know,
Right.
the East versus the West. You know, so yeah, I think about those things, and it's funny when you're not healthy, and maybe you can relate to this. When you're not healthy, you wake up. Like take music for example. I wake up and I go, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna write this song. I'm gonna maybe start out with the drums, and then I'll do a bass line, and then as the day progresses, I don't feel like doing it anymore,
Right.
or I just don't get into it, and and it's the thing that I really love, though. You
Yeah.
know,
Expression.
it's not the thing that I really love, but and I was telling a friend of mine that's in the music, and I tell him all the time that I don't think we choose music. Uh, a, a true musician, I don't think it's a choice we make. I think it chooses us. And that's a whole different line of thought right there. And I think sometimes it breaks your heart. Like, people say, "Oh, music's my first love," or "Music is a love," but actually, it also can break your heart like a lover can. You know?
That's true.
Yeah.
So when I was on here with A1, he was telling me about a very traumatic circumstance that happened with his child, and that he lost his child in a drowning accident.
Mm.
And through music, he was able to help himself through that. Do you find any of those? Does music give you any sort of therapy for the stuff that you deal with?
Uh, Listening to music does, but creating it doesn't. Well, I don't want to say it doesn't. I'll say it hasn't as I've gotten older, but when I was younger, it has in the sense that I will get lost in the process. I will get lost in the process of making music. And then I forget about a lot of things, you know.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's
while I was doing
right. That's the therapeutic benefits of it, is it can take you out of things that maybe are really difficult to deal with, and at least gives you a reprieve for a short period of time.
right, right. And uh it's almost like a drug. I mean, I dealt with addiction, and um music is like that without the side effects
Right.
of 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 drugs, um, for the most part. I mean, it can also have side effects. Um, a lot of gear. That addiction can kick in. You know, and manifest itself in other ways if you haven't uh, handled the process of
Right.
healing the addiction, because you could wind up buying a whole bunch of crap. Just like, for example, when I stopped using cocaine, um, I started overeating,
Hmm.
and that became an issue. And and addiction, if you don't go through the process, the healing process that you have to go through, whether it's a 12 step or however other healing you have to deal with, then it becomes a game of guacamole or whatever you call it,
Oh,
where
yeah. Yeah.
where you think you handled it because you're not using the cocaine, but then it pops up somewhere else, you know, and you hit that down and it pops up somewhere else. And the only difference between that and guacamole is it pops up somewhere else, and you don't realize it's popped up somewhere else until someone, pulls you up and say, "Hey, man, your slip's hanging," and then oh, there it is, and you pop it down, and it popped up somewhere else, and then your girlfriend says, "Hey, you got a problem over here," and then it pops, and so you have to go and do that self reflection and working on the deeper issues because it'll always keep popping up somewhere. And even with music, it will, if you use music as that escape, it can pop up there.
So what I'm hoping for is that with this platform that we have here, that somebody will hear these stories and stuff and find something in it
Hello?
that they can relate to. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
I think
Can you
your
hear me?
voice is
Can you hear me? Mic check. Hello. Okay. We might be struggling.
hello?
Yes, I'm here. We might be struggling with a little bit of internet connection issue.
You hear me?
Yes, it sounds like he's got a little bit of a buffering issue going on here. So maybe we can reconvene this on another day, maybe with a different setup or
Can you
something.
hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me? Mic check. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I will give him another try here, and hopefully we can get him back online.
Yeller.
Can you hear me?
Hmm. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Yeah, yeah, clicked off. I stopped hearing you after that. Yeah, it was like a slow. Your voice started to get lower and lower and lower, but you can still hear me on the stream. I'm still in here. I think your internet might be a little bit, might be a bad internet connection or something like that. It's possible. Because what would happen is it would like do this weird thing where it would do a beat repeat on your voice. It would go like that. That would slowly start to lose your voice a little bit here and there. Okay, I'll sign back in again. Okay, give it one more try. All right, okay.
All right, mic check. So he's gonna give it one more try here, and we'll get him back pulled in here. I just spoke to him on the phone. We could just be dealing with a little bit of internet. We didn't do any long tests or anything. We just kind of spur of the moment went for it. So 1 second here, he should be back in. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
why
know.
my phone kind of weird.
That's all right. You can hear me now, though, right?
Yeah, let me know if I start to fade out.
Okay, no problem. Let's get right into the meat of what I was asking when we started to have a little bit of a problem there. I was saying
Okay.
that with this platform that we have right now here, and with your experiences and stuff, I'm hoping that somebody will come along and find this video and they'll listen to it, and they might find something in it that can help them through a really tough time. So can you think back through your life and think of any things that you could have done differently that you might be able to share with people? Or is there something now that you think you can do? So if somebody is in your same situation, what would you tell them? Or what would you tell somebody that you know is about to go through everything you've already been through? Is there anything you can share with anybody listening so they can get some um, maybe some direction, or something that they can say, okay, well, I can take that and run with it.
Uh, hmm. It's hard to say, um, because I haven't really figured it out myself, you know. So I don't know if it's will be my place to say we'll do this and everything's going to be all right. I think that through time, everything tends to work itself out. It's like one day you might wake up and say, "Man, I'm sick of this. I just want to end it." And then all I can say is, if you feel like you want to end it, just wait 10 days.
Hmm.
Like counting to 10, wait 10 days, because in a couple days you won't feel that way, you know.
So
Um,
it's
mhm.
never as bad as you think it is.
I don't want to say that because it does get as bad as you think it is, but it will always get better. Sooner or later, it'll get better. Even if you hit bottom, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom, and there's no way to go but up from there.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to say it's not as bad as it is, because it's like, um, if I break my arm and you broke your finger, and for me to say, well, man, I broke an arm, your finger can't hurt that much. Just think if you had broke your arm, but
I
your
guess also,
finger. That,
can you still hear me?
yeah, I hear you.
Can
Can
you
you
hear
hear
me?
me? Yes.
Yep, I can hear you right now. This might be
Yeah.
the start of our fade out.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you right now. Yep. Go ahead, continue on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you break your finger and I broke my arm and I say, well, my arm hurts worse than your finger, that's not necessarily true. Maybe your finger hurts just as bad or worse than my arm does, you know?
That's true.
Yeah. So I think empathy is the best thing sometimes, to have empathy for other people in a situation. And I really think that's what we're going through now in this country, is a lack of empathy. And people is probably the best solution. And it's hard right now. I think we're going through a thing where people are just pissed off at each other, you know?
Right.
People are pissed off at, one side is pissed off at the other side, and everybody's blaming everybody for the situation that we find ourselves in. We're all guilty for this situation, you know? We allowed it to get to this point, and it sounds like I'm sticking everything in one pot, and when I'm talking, I tend to talk that way, but I think it is, you know, a lot of that is this way because we have to look out for each other more. There's a lot of greed and self-centeredness running around. You know, for example, a perfect symptom of this is, let me know if I start to fade out.
Yep.
A perfect symptom of this is in the supermarkets. People are hoarding toilet paper. What, how much shit do you have to do? You know, and they're hoarding it, and then they're going and selling it on Amazon. I mean, that's cruel, actually. It's a cruel thing to do, to hoard hand sanitizer. But this is the mindset. There's not a lot of love going on,
Right.
you know? And there's a lot of people living in solitude. And I think sometimes when we get into our own heads, if we can just try to think about another person, maybe call up somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing? How have you been? What's going on in your life? You need anything? You okay?"
Yep.
Just that, you know. I think that to get you out your head, a little bit.
That's great
I think
advice.
yeah. So that would be my that would be my I don't have another solution.
Remix. You just went all remix on us, B1.
Yeah. So
we just
what
had
about
the
you?
we just had the we can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Uh-oh. That's how we know when we lost somebody, when it does that
This thing is
yeah, when it
acting
does
up
that
so much.
long beat repeat, we know we lost them.
I don't know
So
why it's doing this.
how long do I let them go until I tell them? All right. That was actually a good way to end it. I'm
Well,
gonna thank.
in case everybody can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yep. Yes. Continue on.
Yeah, we're still connected.
Yeah. I'm gonna let him try to say whatever he's trying to say. Oh, he left. All right. So what I'm gonna say, we left it on a good note there. He was gonna say something, but I think he didn't. But anyway, what he said is absolutely true. If you're having, at least this is my opinion too, if you are feeling down, or if you feel like you're you're maybe traveling down a road that's a little bit hard to deal with, it's always good to look at other people and ask if others need help. It's always a great distractor from your own problems when you can help other people. So, oh, you're back.
Yeah.
You're back.
Yeah. I figured out a way to get back quickly.
Cool. I was just relaying you did a major beat repeat on us, and that was like the remix. It went on, it was a good
okay.
it was like a good 2-second beat repeat, and it was on a beat. It was real cool. So, but I just basically shut down the stream by repeating what you said, which was, if you want to get get out of yourself and get out of your own head, just to find somebody that you can ask if they're okay. Ask somebody else if they need help. Ask somebody else how they're doing. So
yeah. That's cool, man. Sorry that we're having so much trouble with this.
no problem.
I don't know. Huh?
Thanks for coming.
Oh, no problem, man.
No problem.
Right.
And we can we'll do a little test and see if we can figure out what the issue is, and we'll bring you back, and we can go back a ways. We can go back a ways and talk about early days and things like that if you'd like.
Cool. Okay. All right, man.
Is there anything else you want to leave?
Take care. Are we still on air?
We're still on air.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Is there anything you want to leave us with?
No, that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. So,
and next time we talk, we can get back into some music. But I
Sure.
don't know. I was going to talk about it, but I felt it was kind of important to talk about some, you know, personal issues that I think a lot of people don't realize they're going to be dealing with in the next couple months. This thing is not going to go away in a week, you know.
No, it's not. And what I want to do with this is I want to share the things that we don't talk about when we are visible. When we're visible, we don't
Right.
talk about things. So that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
hear, is talk about the things that people can't talk about when they're visible. So I appreciate you opening
Yes.
with
Yeah.
that stuff, and we'll run it back on another day. If there's other things that you want to, get off your chest or share with other people that might help. So love to have you back.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot. All right.
Thanks. Can
You
you hear
take
me?
care.
All right.
Peace.
Peace. We got one more remix out of him before he left. So we'll call it a day. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. And if you want to be an anonymous guest, you know how to get in touch with me by now, I'm sure. So just shoot me a message somehow. Peace.